everybody, it's Emily from Life Sew Savory, and today we're going to be sewing a leotard for my daughter, mashing up a couple of patterns. And the two patterns that I'm mashing are in the post that's in the description of this video, so if you want more information you can check it out there. And we're going to get started sewing in just a minute. You might notice that I'm wearing the cozy cardigan that I sewed yesterday on the live show that I did with Angela Wolf over on the Brothers Sews Facebook page. So that was super great, and it turned out, and I've been wearing it all morning and it's been so cozy. So if you did not watch that show, you can check it out over on the Brothers Sews page, or I also shared it I think to my group and to my page. So if you follow me there, you can find the video and check it out there. So I'm totally loving sewing all the cozy things right now and enjoying it. So you can definitely, yeah, find out what I made. Yay, Mary, I love it. I've been wearing it all morning. It is very cozy. I'm excited to kind of wash it and see if some of the ripples come out of the curves a little bit on the bottom. But I also want to take pictures of it this afternoon. So I might go ahead and like iron it a little bit later and see if I can get that out. So we'll see what how it looks out, but it's totally cozy, whether it has some ripples in the seam around the edge or not. That does not affect the total coziness of it. So what I did top stitch, so it looks great up here. You can see the top stitch there a little bit, but I'll kind of give you you can just see what I'm talking about. Like here, it just doesn't lay super flat, but maybe it's okay, right? I mean, it's still so cute and cozy, and I love the length, and it's just simple. Maybe I just don't love the rounded look. I don't know. I am thinking maybe I just want to put a button or something here. I don't know. I don't know what I think. I think that it's cozy, and I know that much for sure. So, you know, maybe I just want it to be more like here on the side. Yeah, it does. So, but I think I'm just gonna try to press that out a little bit before I take a picture. So anyway, it's cozy again. I'm going to be posting all the details about making this and the ones that I made for my daughter on Friday. But you can also, whoops. But you grab, you can also check out, add a tie to make it stay on. I know, I think that it stays on fine. I'm just wondering, I think it looks weird when I do this. Like that just looks funny. So maybe I just need to totally wear it on the side, and then it's fine. Just an open because I'm trying to think, I should put on some of the other cardigans that I have that I love and see, do they just hang down on the side and I don't think anything's weird about it, or do they cover more in the front? I'm thinking they don't really cover more in the front is what I'm thinking. So, okay, goodness. All right, so I'm gonna share here to a couple of pages, and then we are going to get sewing. So that's the plan. Let me just post this. And then, okay, so like I said, we're gonna be sewing a leotard, and I have a saga, more than a story, for you about this. Oh, so my daughter has gymnastics on Thursday afternoons, and last Thursday I was looking for her leotard, and I had made the one that's in the post that's linked here. So it has like a little leotard and then little shorts that she wears over it. And I was looking everywhere. I couldn't find it. And then I realized, okay, the last time we had it, she was at a friend's house, and the friend gave me her leotard with some other things in a bag when I picked her up from this friend's house. And so as I'm thinking, I was looking and I just thought, you know what? I don't know if what I did with that bag. And I thought maybe I threw it away, because sometimes I like to throw things. I don't like things hanging around. I'll be honest, occasionally it's gotten me in trouble because I've thrown out something I should have kept. But so I looked everywhere I thought this bag could be, that the leotard was in, and these other objects that I couldn't remember what she also brought home. She brought home this bag that had the leotard in it and some other things in it. And I couldn't remember what else that other thing would be. So then I just thought I must have thrown it out, because I can't find the bag anywhere. We can't find the leotard anywhere. So last week she wore a tank top and little shorts to gymnastics, and I said, okay, before next week, I will sew you another leotard. So I yesterday cut out this leotard, and it's gonna be a little bit different than the last one. So I thought, fun, we'll get to, you know, show off another method of making a leotard. And then last night, when my daughter is going to bed, yeah, okay, Phyllis, so it's not just me. Last night when my daughter's going to bed, she's like, Mom, look, the bag. And her closet door was open, and on the top shelf of her closet was this bag with the leotard in it. And you know what else was in it, which is why I shoved it up in the closet? It was on duct tape day at school. So wear duct tape. So I had made her a duct tape hat and a duct tape skirt. And so when she was at her friend's house, after gymnastics, they'd put the skirt and the hat in this paper bag with the leotard so that I could bring home. And I had wanted to save the duct tape stuff because I thought, well, if there's duct tape day again next year at school, then she can just wear it again. And so I'd saved the skirt, and I had saved the hat, and in that bag that I had shoved up in her closet was the leotard. So last night at bedtime, we found the leotard, but I had already cut this one out. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew it today because it's already cut out, and she can have 2 leotards, and she's signed up to do gymnastics again next session. So we'll just keep going with it. So what are we making today out of fabric? We're gonna mash up the same 2 patterns that I used last time to make the leotard and shorts into one. So I'm hoping that it's sort of a leotard bathing suit-ish top with shorts on the bottom. So I have my girls bathing suit pattern, which is, both of these patterns are talked about in the link in the description of this video. So if you want to get to these patterns, click that link. It'll take you to the first leotard that I made, but it's the same patterns that I'm using. This time I'm just sewing them together. And then the shorts, okay? So how did I sort of figure out how to put them together? Well, what I did was on the bathing suit, when it was a full length, I traced the whole thing, and then I sort of aligned this crotch part of the shorts with where it was on the bathing suit. So say, I think it was way down here, so we put it, you know, like this, and then I cut off the bathing suit. The only other thing, because, you know, on your shorts, you've got, the front is a little bit lower than the back, is on the front of the bathing suit, I did cut the front center a little bit higher, and then it slants down to the side, and then on the back, I cut the front a little bit lower in the front, right? Because it's lower in the front, then it starts to go up to the back, so we angle that off a little bit using the angle on the shorts, and then on the back, it's higher in the middle, angling to the side, and then you need to make sure that your two side seams are the same so the leotard matches up. So, all that to say, I now have shorts cut out, okay? And we'll be sewing those up, and I have the leotard top, front, and back. The other thing that I did, you can see here, was I don't have thin elastic, I only have 1/2 inch elastic, so I did widen my straps a little bit so that when I add the thicker elastic and fold it over, it won't completely disappear and we'll have a little bit to work with. So that's what we're gonna sew. I have elastic, I have my pieces, and we're gonna try and put it together and see if we can create a one-piece leotard with attached shorts. I do want to try and think about, I was trying to, and I should just probably buy a pattern, but I was trying to think how I could make it all one piece without a seam, because right now I'm sewing the shorts on, but if you'll notice the leotard pieces have a center fold on the body, and the shorts have a side fold, so I can't just smash the two pieces together. So I suppose I could have cut this in half and try to trace it on, except for this is the front and we can't really have two of those hanging down. So, and I have to think about that, maybe if I'm gonna do this again. Could I make it all one piece without a seam where the shorts are attached to the leotard? I don't know, and I'm trying to think if I've really seen it done before. I haven't really inspected, I guess, leotards, and I've never bought one. I've always just made them, or she wears like tank tops and shorts. So if you've ever sewn one or have some tips on that, I'd love to hear if you've ever had like, yeah, leotard, because I've seen this style at her gymnastics class where it's like a tank top attached to your little like shorties, which is what I'm trying to do. And I saw people have it. I think they said they got it at Target. So that's what we're trying to create. But in the moment as I was putting it together and getting it organized, I couldn't really figure out how I was gonna mash it. So we're gonna sew it together around that low waist, and hopefully that seam doesn't bother my daughter too much, because sometimes she does get a little bit weird with seams rubbing or bothering her. So I'm just sewing these shoulders together here, the tank. So we have the top and the back. I've cut this a 8 length and a 6 width for my daughter. Okay, so now we will sew the shorts. Sew the front and the back curved seam. Someone said they were late. What was I making? I am trying to make my daughter a leotard for her gymnastics class tomorrow, and the link that I've put with this video is to the first version that I made, where I added cute little ruffle sleeves onto my bathing suit pattern, swimsuit pattern, to create a fun leotard. So you can check that out. This time I am trying to actually mash together those two patterns. So the swimsuit and the shorts, both of which I used in the first version, but were not attached to each other. She just wore one over the other. Okay, so we'll see, can we attach this? So here's the little shorts, And I did trim off at least a full inch, maybe a little bit more off the top, because normally you put the elastic in and then you fold this over. Well, you need to cut off that fold because we're just sewing it right to the other top of the swimsuit, okay? So there's the shorts. We're gonna put those aside. And now we can go ahead and sew the side seams up. And I think what I'm gonna do is put in the elastic on both the neck and the arms before I attach it. Then I just have less fabric to be dealing with. So let me just show you here what we've got going. Okay, so now we have the top sewn, and you can see this is actually the back, and it's cut just a little bit higher to account for the higher bit of the shorts, and it's a lower scoop in the back than on the front, and that is by design of the pattern. So now in order to add the elastic, we need to measure and then see how long to cut it. So I'm going to just lay out this elastic without stretching it. Okay, so I'm just using it to measure around the neckline. What is the length of the neckline? Not stretching. Okay, and then once I have that, we can take the measuring tape and measure that out at 26 inches. So if I take off 10% of that, that's taking off 2.6 inches. So 26 minus 2.5 is 23.5, right? 23.5. So I'm gonna cut my elastic 90% of the length that I measured around. So we're gonna go with 23.5. And then we will sew that into a circle before sewing it onto the machine. And I'll repeat those same steps with the arms, and they're the same because, you know, we have two arms, but I'm gonna do the neck first. So I'm gonna stitch this into a circle. And then I have to think about, when I do really narrow elastic, I don't usually sew it with the serger because it feels too narrow, but I'm wondering, because I'm using thicker elastic, if I actually could sew it onto here with the serger. I might try, because I love the way it looks finished when it's been sewed on with the serger. But let's see, I usually sew from this side, so I should pin from this side here, so I can take these out. Okay, so I am matching up the center of that elastic with the center of the front, and then I'll put the seam with the center of the back. So this seam right here goes on the back center, and then we will stretch the rest of it to fit around. And this is the same concept that you would use whether you're sewing a bathing suit or underwear or whatever you're sewing, where you need to stretch the elastic to fit along the edge. Okay, so normally with swimwear, I like to use 1/4 inch elastic, but because I didn't have any, it's not really swimsuit sewing season, so I don't necessarily have all of the same supplies that I would if this were April or May, and I haven't sewn any swimsuits for a while because it's fall and we are moving into winter. So I had this 1/2 inch elastic, and I'm gonna see if I can make it work. And like I said at the beginning, I did add a little bit of width to my straps so that when I fold this under, we hopefully haven't given ourselves like a teeny tiny strip of fabric on the straps, okay? So I'm gonna try to sew this elastic on with the serger. So you're stretching as you go. You're also trying not to cut the elastic with the serger blade. So I'm really just going right along the edge of the fabric. And I can see where my blade is hitting, so I can make sure that I'm not cutting the elastic. And you don't even actually have to really cut your fabric unless it's uneven or you want to trim a little bit. But you're just making that edge of the fabric and attach the elastic really pretty with your serger. And I'll show you in a minute what a nice finished edge it really gives it when you do it this way. And then we just can fold it under and zigzag it. And the whole thing still looks really great. So here's from the outside, my serger stitch on the right side of my fabric, and then here's on the inside. You can see my elastic attached right to the edge. And the next step will be to fold this under, pull it straight, and then zigzag to top stitch. And I'll zigzag on this front side. And you want to do it on the far side of the elastic to prevent flipping. Okay, so when I do it, you can see through the light, we're going to do it right on this outer edge. We're not going to do it close here. We're not going to do it in the middle. We're going to do it right on that outer edge, and that should prevent this from flipping up when it's being worn. Okay, so there is the neckline. Now let's do the same method to measure the armholes, where I'm just going to take this elastic around, not stretching it. Okay, so I have my measurement. Let me okay, so it looks like it's 13.5. So that is 1.3 inches. So we will cut it just over 12 inches for that arm opening. And we're going to cut 2 because we have 2 arm openings. Okay, so now we're finished with that elastic, hopefully. And I'm going to put this into a circle and zigzag it. I was just reading something yesterday about how you should check the measurements of a plastic measuring tape to see if it's stretched out. And you know, in this case, when I'm not really measuring anything official, I'm just measuring against itself, it doesn't really matter. But I was doing a wood cutting project last week, and I was cutting the baseboard for this wall right here behind my sewing machine, and I measured it twice. And I went out and I cut the board, and I came in and it was too long, like 2 inches too long, way longer than it should have been. And I just thought, how did that happen? I had to measure it. So I measured the wall again, and I measured my board, and according to my measurements, they were the same. So I have no idea what went wrong. But then I was thinking yesterday, did I use 2 different measuring tapes by any chance? And was one stretched out, and then I went outside and I cut the wood with a different measuring tape? So I need to investigate that, and I just thought, oh, I should probably check the measuring tape and see if it's stretched out. I got the board trimmed down a little bit. You know, obviously, too long is better than too short, because we could go back and trim it off and we haven't ruined anything. But I was just so confused because I had actually measured more than I normally do. It was such a long wall that I wanted to make sure I was doing a good job. Okay, so elastic on one of the sleeves, and as I thinking about folding this in, they are going to be, it's going to be really thin on here, but I should have made it even wider because I was hoping it would be thicker, but it's not. And in fact, I'll have to overdo one, fold it in, then the other one will overlap a little bit. So note to self, make it a little bit thicker, even thicker next time if I'm going to use this elastic. I will have to see if I even like this thick elastic on a swimsuit. I have never sewn 1/2-inch elastic into a swimsuit. Have any of you used elastic this thick? It feels really wide. But again, I would not put this around the leg openings. I think that would be actually super uncomfortable. So, but I think the shoulders should be okay. That's not like it's gonna be rubbing on your legs or anything. So we'll have to see. And I'll get the official, my daughter is not afraid to tell me if something is rubbing or uncomfortable. So we'll get the rundown, what she says she likes or doesn't like when she's doing it. All right, so now I need to make sure that as I'm sewing, I'm stretching so that we don't have any bubbles or bumps. And like I mentioned, we're sewing on the outer edge of that elastic. So we're gonna use one hand to stretch and then the other hand to kind of pull it through. And we didn't have to stretch the elastic a ton to put it on, but I always like to stretch it a little bit more than I have to when I'm going around like this, so that if it does get stretched or pulled when it's being worn, that it has a little bit of extra give. But again, just make sure you're sewing on the complete inner edge of that elastic. Actually, the wide elastic looks pretty nice on there. You know, that's actually a really nice look. I'm just not sure how it will feel, but that looks really great. And you can see the finish on the inside with that serged edge is beautiful, and the whole thing finishes nicely. So I'm gonna do both arms first, just because on those shoulders, like I said, the elastic will have to overlap. So we'll do it in the same order on both sides, so we make sure the overlap is in the same order. You also want to make sure you fold it over the elastic and you don't have extra fabric bumping along the edge of that fold. So you want to roll it over and fold it tight and not have extra fabric in your fold. Okay, so there are the arms, looking great. Let's do the same thing with the neck opening. And then we can complete this experiment by sewing the top and bottom together and seeing how it looks. Most importantly is going to be how it fits. Is it wonky or is it really okay? Yeah, these straps are definitely thinner than I was hoping, but they'll be nice and sturdy because they have 2 layers of elastic. Fold it over on top of each other there on the shoulders. So when I use the 1/4-inch elastic, it does not, they fold over and they meet in the middle, but they do not overlap. So should have added more width to the strap. I felt like I added a bunch, but apparently I did not. All right, we're back around. Let's take a look here. So there's the front, and the back is a little bit lower. Okay, so obviously this gets all sort of stretched out when it gets put on and should look perfect. I think it's gonna lay nicely. It shouldn't roll over. But now we need to put the shorts on and see how that looks. So I have, on this one, I have side seams to match up, and on this one, I have front and back seams. So I think what I'm gonna do is mark the side seams here. And then I also need to make sure that we have the back and the front lined up. So this is the front, and this is the front. So I think if I put it in like this, we have the fronts together and we have the backs together. I will double check that before I sew, but I'm going to line up the side seam on one side. And I did, after I cut these out, I did measure, and you can see that they line up pretty nicely. I don't really have to like pull or stretch the front or the back to get it to line up. So that's good. Okay, so I'll put another clip here in the middle. Put another clip here in the middle. All right, so let's sew this, and hopefully it lays nicely. But again, the true test is gonna be how it fits when it's on. And thankfully we did find the other leotard that I thought I had lost. So if this doesn't work, she can go back to her other leotard option for tomorrow's class, and I can use this as a prototype and keep perfecting the mashup. I had just enough fabric to cut this out, so I would definitely have to get more fabric or try it out of a different kind. All right, so let's turn this up and see what we've got. It looks good. Okay, so we've got shorts on the bottom of a leotard top. And then our final, so I don't know, it hangs nicely. I just wonder, is it gonna be baggy? You know, you don't really want saggy crotch, but I also don't want it too tight in that area. So the last step would be to turn under and hem the bottom of the shorts. And I'm just gonna use my zigzag here that I have all set up and turn under a 1/2 inch hem. Okay, so we're gonna turn up and sew a 1/2 inch hem. I have red on the cover stitch, so we are not going to use that for the hem today because that is totally the wrong color. And I don't really want to change that right now. So the zigzag works great for a hem on the bottom of this athletic fabric and should stretch just fine on the bottom of these shorts. Okay, so one leg done. And I also, you know, we cut this a size that's going to be hopefully nice and snug, because again, I want this to be like a leotard, not shorts, so we want it really fitted on the legs and the waist and everywhere. So I will have to get Rose to try this on this afternoon when she comes home, and I'll probably end up posting a photo in my group of how it turned out with our comments on the fit and the final product. So if you're not part of my pattern group, I actually put the link in the description of today's video, so you can go there and ask to join. And then when I approve you, you will be able to come back and see. It'll be a couple hours before I get that up, but you'll be able to come back and see the posted final photo and what it all looks like. All right, so let's just take one more look here. Okay, so here is our little onesie leotard outfit. Again, already I was wishing I wanted these straps to be wider. They are more narrow than I was hoping, but the rest of it looks really good, feels stretchy. Once this is on, it should lay really nicely on both the front and the back. It's just, I'm not sure about the length and the way this is mashed together, how this will fit and lay. Will it be too tight? Will it be just right? So that's what we have today, and I will share the result with you later. So I didn't use a twin needle for this. I used just a regular needle, and I did a zigzag. So I didn't do top stitching that was too side by side. So the other thing, I don't know with your twin needle, let me go back here. Are you using a knit? They do have, oh, you didn't find stretch needles. They do have stretch twin needles. Let me show you what they look like. This, I have two in here, but it says Zwilling Stretch Twin Needle. Okay, so that might help your skipping stitches, and you should be able to order it online if you don't see it in the stores. I don't remember where I got this, but I know they do sell them, and that would help with the skip stitches. I don't know if she picked out this fabric, but she did like the other leotard I made out of the same fabric, so I'm pretty sure the fabric's going to be a hit. So there we go. I will post the finished photo later today. I hope you have a great, oh yeah, Mary, well, that definitely is a little bit, but maybe you can get delivery from a company. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy it wherever you are in the world, and I will enjoy this beautiful fall day here in Colorado, and I'll see you next week for another fun sewing show. Bye.